Keeping his electoral campaign promise, on the 8th of May of 2018, President Donald Trump withdrew from the so-called nuclear deal made by the Obama administration in 2015, aimed at reducing Iran's nuclear power, reimposing sanctions on Iran. The first round of sanctions imposed on 3 August 2018 include Iranian trade on the US dollar, real transactions outside Iran, trade in automobile and metals, goods such as pistachios and carpets. The second and more significant round of sanctions were imposed on 3 November 2018 and target Iran's oil sector and Iran's central bank. According to Trump's administration, the sanctions are meant to mainly put economic pressure on Iran and force it to come back to the negotiating table at Trump's conditions, and secondarily to curb the malign activities of Iranian organizations connected with the Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps who are accused of sponsoring terrorism in the Middle East. However, do sanctions effectively curb the Revolutionary Guard's economic power? The IRGC was formed as a paramilitary organization established in 1979 by the Supreme Leader Khomeini to balance the regular army, secure Iran's border in conflicts and safeguard the Islamic revolutionaries' values. They played a key role in the Iran-Iraq War.
Young people ranging from 12 to in their early 20s. They went really to the front to fight Saddam Hussein's invasion of Iran, which had started in 1980. So they were actually at that time quite popular. People were joining them. It was a popular mobilization to push back Saddam Hussein's troops.
But it was after the war that the IRGC extended its influence into the economic and political spheres of the Islamic Republic.
The war had caused lots of destruction, and the Revolutionary Guards were also involved in reconstruction projects. So during the presidency of Rafsanjani in the early 1990s, they got involved in all kind of economic activities.
In this period, the IRGC founded a company to conglomerate its many business ventures, the Khatam Al-Anbiya Construction Headquarters, also known as GORB. Khatam Al-Anbiya is now one of Iran's largest contractors, employing 200,000 workers. It is under President Ahmadinejad that the IRGC expanded its economic influence. During his tenure, starting in 2005, 9 out of 21 ministries, including Ahmadinejad, were occupied by war veterans and former IRGC officers. During his presidency, a so-called privatization wave ensured that no bid contracts were awarded to IRGC-affiliated companies.
So what happened with the privatization in Iran is exactly this, that industries were sold off, but they were bought by people very close to the state. First of all, because they had much easier access to buying those assets. So this means also generals, retired generals of the Revolutionary Guards were given access to buy these assets, but also really the institution of the Revolutionary Guards buying assets, for instance, in construction or telecommunication.
The implementation of stricter sanctions from the US and EU in 2010 played in favor of Ahmadinejad's privatization scheme and the IRGC. A crucial example is the development of the South Pass gas field, which contains 40% of Iran's gas and 8% of world gas reserves. Under pressure of sanctions, Total, Eni and Shell companies withdrew their contracts to develop the gas field, which were subsequently given to the gas companies. The Revolutionary Guard's economic control extended to most of Iran's economic sectors, from construction to telecommunication, from oil and gas to the automobile and financial business. The isolation of the country created by the sanctions have also had the effect to increase the space for the Iranian black market.
Products cannot be brought in, they have to be brought in through the borders and smuggling and so on. So controlling the borders of Iran means that the Revolutionary Guards can use their position to actually engage in smuggling and benefit the people that are collaborating with them.
Although the assumption by Trump's administration is that the imposition of sanctions will effectively curb what it perceives as the Iranian government's corruption and financing of terrorism through the IRGC, their effectiveness is dubious. Despite in the past sanctions have provoked economic constraints in Iran, history has proved that the IRGC has been able to consolidate and accrue its economic power. As a matter of fact, the IRGC is using the sanctions to claim more budget. Compared to 2018, in 2019 its financial resources have grown by 26%. The Revolutionary Guards are profiting from sanctions not only economically but also politically. The IRGC is exploiting the external threats to gain political leverage and to neutralize criticism against them.
To give you one example, in early 2017, President Rouhani actually openly criticized the Revolutionary Guards for undermining the nuclear deal. The Revolutionary Guards were always critical of the nuclear deal. Now they can actually use that against President Rouhani by saying, we told you so, and we have to make a harder stance against Trump, basically.
Thus, the reimposition of sanctions will play in the IRGC's hands and will further increase its political and economic advantage in Iran.